All right, everyone. Trump has decided that the ACA's individual mandate indeed will be totally scrapped. This is actually a really good thing. Now, I think prior the plan was, well, it's still technically there, but we're not actually going to collect it. Like, we're not going to force people to pay the extra, 2% fee. You're too poor to afford health insurance, sometimes in a non-competitive marketplace, like handled within states. So we're actually going to make you pay for being too poor to afford it. It was the most ass-backwards part of the ACA. It was the least popular part of the ACA from day one. The only reason why it was ever justified was, hey, if we don't levy this fee, it will be insolvent and it'll cost more for all the people that are on it. So basically, we're literally going to be subsidizing people, sometimes in the middle class plans, with the money of poor people. That's essentially what the ACA's personal mandate boiled down to. Look, if somebody's going to, have to pay a certain amount per year. Like, let's say they're making more in the upper middle class. Of course, they're going to buy the health insurance because 2% for them on top of the rest of their income tax is probably about the same cost as the kind of plans that they'd be interested in. So they'll be like, well, yeah, at least I'm going to get something out of it. It may be a little hassle, but, I'm still going to have to pay it, so fuck. Whereas a poor person, ultimately, that 2% of their income, while it may be a small amount, the reason that they're having to pay it is because, the cheapest plan here is like 3 times as expensive. So, yeah, fuck me, I can't afford health insurance. Obama says, well, we're going to subsidize health insurance for the poor. Yet for some of these people on the margin, like lower middle class, it's still burdensome in so far as being expensive, but they also don't qualify for enough of a subsidy to make it worth their while. So it's like, oh yeah, take the extra couple $100. What else am I supposed to do? It's really, really screwy, and it's good that it's going away. Personally, I wish the government would just get out of the health insurance, healthcare industry altogether. Let's restore our medical infrastructure to as much of a 100% free market as possible. None of the grants and subsidies any more than the regulatory burden and taxes and fees. What you would have is healthcare that was so much cheaper, a lot of people wouldn't even need insurance. Instead of, I had to get my bones set and a cast, now I have to pay 25 grand. It would be, I had to have, my bones set and a cast and I paid $500. It would be within the means of at least people within the middle class, generally speaking, unless they were chronically ill. Those who are chronically ill or who are really, really poor, and also children, that can be taken care of on the side. It's possible to do that. What we've done is inflate the price for everybody so that everyone feels compelled now to have health insurance. They shouldn't need health insurance. Nobody should feel compelled economically to have to buy health insurance in the first place. Insurance shouldn't even really exist. When you think about it, it's really a screwy idea to begin with. The very idea, car insurance, why? Well, it shouldn't cost so fucking much to get your car fixed that you would need automotive insurance. Oh yeah, that tire is going to cost $10 million, and this will cost $10,000 trillion because of inflation. It's basically what it boils down to, and the cost keeps rising over and over. Meanwhile, wages are stagnant. This is one thing the left points out that's totally true. Wages are stagnant, but everything costs more and more and more. It doesn't seem to matter if the economy grows or if it's doing well or the stock market's up. 90% of the population's still fucked. All of that extra productivity has to get taxed and siphoned off and used for subsidies, bringing us closer and closer to, I guess, a utopian communist society where everyone's going to be equally miserable. You're going to start eroding the upper middle class at some point. They're going to end up in the same boat as someone who's totally impoverished because they'll be paying so many taxes. Trump's got the right idea, although, again, mild reformer. It's a start, it's a step, but it's only one. He needs to take a few more, hopefully, over the next few years. I hope he rips apart all sorts of regulations and bureaus and things. We need to get DC's spending habits totally under control. We need to get government out of as many things as possible so that the cost lowers. People don't realize when the government throws a grant at a business, that doesn't actually mean, well, we've got this extra money, that means we can produce our product and make it less expensive. No, the product will be just as expensive. In fact, over time, when the government habitually does this, it makes it more expensive. And it doesn't really help anyone unless you're on the very lowest rung of society, and then the government's throwing you breadcrumbs and making you more and more reliant so that you'll vote for these assholes. It's basically what it boils down to. It's good that the ACA mandate will be gone. It's a step in the right direction. Again, just a step, but at least it's, instead of taking that step towards the cliff, you just took a step away from the cliff. It's just a step, you're still on the cliff, sort of looking down, but you're a little further from the edge. It's a little bit safer than it was before. It's a little bit better. This is what I predict and predicted we'd get with Trump. Generally speaking, mild reform. Movement in the correct direction, but not huge movement. He's not a fanatic. I know all of his opponents want to say he's crazy, he's really, really far right. He's like, whoa, he's totally out there. No, he's saying the sort of common sense things that were common even among people who labeled themselves proud liberals maybe 15 years ago. He really sounds a lot more like a common sense neoliberal from the past era when, the economy was doing a bit better and things were generally a little bit better than they are now in the wake of the sort of the Bush and Obama disaster presidencies. And by the way, can I just say this? The reason why the left was able to take so much advantage of us all and fuck around with the economy and stop enforcing immigration law and screw everything up overseas and try to fuck Syria up the ass. The reason why Democrats got away with that is primarily because Bush was such a shitty ass-backwards piece of crap president that anything that they did by comparison seemed semi-normal. Even the corrupt, shitty stuff like the NSA revelations should have taken down the Obama presidency. He should have been removed from office because it was obvious he's either got to be so dumb he can't lead for not knowing this was going on, or he knew it, broke a campaign pledge, and violated several constitutional amendments in the process. Either way, he should have been out of office. And if Bush hadn't come before him, if he was being judged against someone like a Clinton or a Reagan, he would have been out. His approval would have been fucking zero. He would have been forced to resign. People don't even, I guess, recognize this fact. Yeah, we have a tendency to judge people based on other people who have held that position within politics, which is about the most stupid thing you can possibly do, because then you get compelled into the false dichotomy, two-party bullshit, and you start thinking, well, Bush was bad, but Obama was a little worse, he's the worst president, so Bush, okay, we can tolerate him. Like, there's only one person who can be the boogeyman. You can't have two failed presidencies in a row. It's actually more than that. Because, of course, Herbert Walker was a failure. He was no Ronald Reagan, literally. Clinton was, committed perjury. That's a little bit of a problem. Economically, things are fine, not having anything to do with what Clinton did. It was based on what Reagan did, freezing the federal spending for a while. So Clinton was, at best, mediocre. Obama and W. Bush were both failures, and now we've got Trump we've got four, relatively shitty presidencies in a row where Clinton it seems like a stand-up guy. Think about it. Bubba Bill, who you allegedly raped 5 women, seems like a stand-up guy by comparison to the other morons surrounding him. Now we've got Trump. All Trump has to do is mild reform, and he's going to seem better than he actually is. So I may step back from an unbiased perspective and say, well, it's okay, but it's, ultimately it's basically an average presidency so far. His opponents are totally wrong. When they say, oh, he's the worst president, you don't know what you're talking about. You also, you must have forgotten the Bush era. You must have forgotten the NSA revelations and Syria and all this other, the ACA rollout. You just, you casually forgot about him. You got Alzheimer's going on or something. No, Trump's doing okay, but it's mild reform. His fans are wrong too. They think he's like the greatest thing since sliced bread. No. But tearing up the individual mandate, this'll help his approval. Because that's the one thing, even most Democrats hated the individual mandate. It was a moronic decision to even have it in there. Obama probably would have been better off just using more debt spending, honestly. And by the way, and nobody wants to talk about that either. The debt was bad under Bush, and all of a sudden Obama gets in, it's not a problem. It was bad under Obama, now all of a sudden Trump's the president, nobody cares about it again if they're a Republican. I'm still going to care about the debt. I think it's burdensome. Now, our economy might be revving up now, so maybe we can deal with it. But we could also have a bubble pop at any given time. It is possible for that to happen. Be a real shit show. Yeah, you'd think that the 2007-2008 recession was mild by comparison. This time it'll be a mini depression. It'll be worse. Yeah, enjoy the student loan bubble. Enjoy the good times while you can. Eventually it will have a problem. It's just a matter of when. My hope is it's many years from now when we've paid down some of the debt, we balance the budget, we're not in so many fucking other countries dicking around, bombing people. That would be really, really nice now, wouldn't it? Have actual growth, not just the illusion of growth. That's about all. Peace out.